In this tutorial, we are going to discuss about some data entry option. In here, we have a very simple data entry form that you need to type in everything with the keyboard. And this form is looking okay, but the main problem is that you have to type in everything, and there are two problems with typing. It takes a long time and it causes error sometimes. So in this tutorial, we will be covering how to turn this text-based form that you have to type in everything and turn it into another form that looks like this. In this form, we will be using a variety of methods such as drop-down lists, selectable calendars, and also checkbox, radio button, to really help you smooth out the input process so that you can save a lot of time and energy when dealing with data entry. On the second part of this tutorial, we will also be covering some options so that when you create a new record, it automatically populates some of the more obvious data for you. For example, a new serial ID for each record, and maybe marking the order date of that record to always as the current date. So stay tuned. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another FileMaker tutorials. This channel is all about creating FileMaker beginner-friendly tutorials so that you can apply these to your business and automate your work. So in today's tutorial, we have a very simple exercise file that you can download in the links in the description down below. And let's get started. In here, we have a very simple form. Right now, everything has to do the data entry by hand like this. And so the first thing we want to go through is using a drop-down list. So if we click on Command L right now, we will go to the layout mode. I want the product to be using a drop-down list so that you can select from a few different products to choose what you want to be in this form. So I click onto product and click onto the fourth tab of inspector. And in this area here, you will see there is something called control style. We want to choose this and change this to a drop-down list. The next thing we want to do is to create a value list so that the computer know what type of drop-down value they want to show it. To create a value list, just click onto this pencil icon right next to value from. Click onto this. We are now at this window here. So we are going to create a new value list for our product, which is in this case a burger selling company. We're going to click on new, and let's name this list a burger list. And we have a few type of burger, maybe cheeseburger, chicken burger, lamb burger, and beef burger. So you can to let the computer know that two value is different, you can use a carriage return or enter key to separate between the two number so that the computer know it's two value. So that's how you set up a value list. Click OK and click OK again. We're going to quickly test out the drop-down list that we just created. So click on Command B or Control B to go back to browse mode. So right now, if I click on product, it will show the 4 different items that I just entered so that you can choose easily instead of having to typing it yourself every single time. There's one additional trick that I want to share with you. So if I go back to layout mode right now, Command L, and we go to product here, there is a little option here that's called autocomplete using value list. This is a very handy tool when you're doing data entry for a large list. So I'm just going to quickly click onto this and then go back to browse mode. So imagine right now, we only have a list of 4 values, which is manageable by most people. But imagine you have a product catalog of 500 products. There's no way that you can choose out of the 500 products in a list like this. And I'm pretty sure this list will go all the way down to the ground. And so the option that I just ticked it's something that allows you to type. So let's say I want to choose cheeseburger. I type C, And then immediately it has already given me some options to choose from because it sends that there is a similarity. So if I keep typing CH, and then we have a chicken burger and cheeseburger that we can choose from. We type E, and then it now limits the option to just cheeseburger. And to take this suggestion, just press enter at any given time. And so this is a very handy trick when you have a much larger value list that you want to use. So basically that's how you use a drop-down list. And the next thing that we want to go through is to use a calendar view. So for example, if I have to enter a date right now, it takes a lot of work because I have to type in 21st of April of 2017. And then I have to type in delivery date as 22nd of April of 2017. And there's a lot of keys involved and it's taking a lot of time. So what we want to do here is to click on Control L again, the layout mode. Click onto the date field that we want to change. So I want to change the order date as well as the arrival date. So I'm just going to highlight both of them by clicking Shift click. And then in control style, I want to make it so that it says drop down calendar. And I'm going to go back to browse mode right now to test it out. And now when we click onto this field, we have a very nice, neat calendar that we can choose different date value from it. So it's much better than typing everything by hand again. Additionally, there is a very handy tools in here. In the bottom of this calendar, there will always be a sign called today, so that whenever you click onto this, it will always give you the date of today. So it's a little handy trick that you can use to save time to trying to find the correct date in some of the cases. But you can just keep this in your mind right now, because later on in this tutorial we are going to cover some very nice tips so that you don't even have to click the date as well to enter these date informations. Okay, and the third thing we want to go through is using a radio button. So what is a radio button? We're going to click on Command L, and we're going to click on delivery type. And let's just assume we have two types of delivery, standard delivery and express delivery. We're going to click on control style, radio button set, and create a value list like we did just now. And then click onto new. Let's name this delivery type. And the two types are standard and express. Click OK, click OK again. And I'm going to trim this a little bit. And right now we have a very nice radio button that we can choose between two values. You can add more if you want, but right now we are only using two. And so it's much faster than typing in the whole standard word and the express word. This is very useful when you have when you only have a few options that you want to enter, and it's maybe a yes or no, maybe a 1 to 5, or maybe low, medium, high. It's very useful for entering data that has limited value. Okay, so now that we get the radio button out of the way, for this section, the last thing we want to cover is this part here. So in this fictional burger form that I'm creating, sometimes the customer might want special requirements like, oh, I want more pickle on the burger, and oh, I want more sauce on the bun. Most of the time it's quite hard to automate this process because the customer special requirement can be anything, but usually when you're in the business long enough, you start to see patterns that, for example, a lot of customer might be choosing something to do with more pickle or no pickle. So what we can do here is to use a checkbox. So we're going to go to Command L to the layout mode, click onto specification, click onto checkbox set, and then we're going to choose value list again. We're going to create our own, and let's call it customer requirement. So we're going to have options like maybe more pickle, no pickle, more sauce, no sauce, and more meat. no meat. I don't know who would do that, but let's just accept this fictional value list that I have in here. But click OK and click OK again, and then we go to browse mode right now. And we are back to the browse mode, and we have in here a list of items that we can choose for a special requirement. So we can take on a few different options so that later on we can reference these information back out when we are delivering the order, or we're sending this to the chef to create the burger. So unlike, you might be wondering, what's the difference between radio button and checkbox? Well, radio button, you can always only choose one value within it. When you click on Express, the standard will go away. But for checkbox, you can choose multiple value here like this. And if we create a duplicate of this field, Control copy, Control paste, and then remove the edit box, you might be able to understand better of what's happening inside. You might be able to understand better inside what's happening in this checkbox. So when I untick everything, nothing shows here. Oh wait, if I untick everything, the letters that I type in just now is still there. So I'm just going to quickly open this and delete this first. So when I click on more pickle, it creates a text inside this same field here. And when I click on more sauce, it creates a more sauce text in here. And when I click it away, it takes away the text. So essentially, the checkbox is basically a text value, but then when you tick onto multiple value, then it just adds it to the same text box. But as for delivery type, it's only adding one value at a time. So that's something you might be interested to know. So I'm just going to click on specification and delete this. Control B. So that's basically the first half of this tutorial. Now, on to the second part of this tutorial, we are going to cover something called auto enter options. What that basically does is that when you create a new record, you might already have some data that you want to input without you even having to input it yourself. The most obvious example will be when I create a new record, the order date will pretty much always be the same date that I create this record. So if I have to click again, it's kind of wasting time. So let's start with this. To make the date as the current date for every new record, we're going to go to Command-Shift-D, or click on File, Manage, Database, and we have a few, the fields are already here. So I'm going to choose the order date, double click onto it, and this little dialog box appear, and you can see in the top there's an auto enter tab. This is where we'll be doing majority of the auto enter options. So in this case, I want to click onto creation date. What this does is that when I create a new record, it will automatically mark the current date that this record is created to the date field. When I click on a new record now, it's automatically on 21st of April, which is today. And so that's the first thing we can do. And the second thing we can do is that, for example, most of the orders that comes in is a standard order. And maybe people who are really hungry want the express delivery. So most of the time we don't want to be clicking this. We want it to be standard by default, and then if we have to change it, we change it to express. So what we can do is to go back to File, Manage, Database, and we are going to double click on Delivery Type. And this time, instead of a creation date, I want a value to be inputted into the field. So I'm just going to click on Data here, and I'm going to type in standard and click OK. Click OK again, and we are going to quickly test that out. We're going to click on New Record again, and right away you will notice that this standard field is already blackened, so the data is already there when we create the record. Third thing we want to do, it's probably one of the most important thing you can do in the database, is that for every order we want a very unique number for each order. So 001 for the first order, 0002, and maybe we want reference letter as well. So maybe this is for burger, BG0001, and then BG002. So we want this number to be different every time so that it's helping the database to identify the unique key of this record. So we are going to go to the database again. We're going to double click on the order ID, which is this field here, and we're double clicking on it, and in here we have something called serial number, and we have options to choose where we want to start the value from. So I'm just going to type in BG0001 and then increment by 1. So every new order I create, it will add 1 unit on top of the next value. I'm going to click OK again, and now I'm going to spam click this new record button here, and you will notice every time I create a new record, it automatically gives me a new serial number. So this is very useful in a lot of ways, because when you're doing relational database, the unique key, it's probably the single most important thing that you have to keep consistent for all your tables. So you want to keep this in mind. Okay, and now that we have these 3 options being set as automatic, I want to do something a little bit more spicy. It's not super spicy like a developer level spicy, but I think it would be interesting to know. So when I create a new order, I have set the date as current date, but for most of the order, I want the delivery date to be let's say 2 days after the order date. Well, it might be very slow for a burger industry, but whatever. So we are going to so how do I make this automatically be 2 days after the current date? We are going to click on File, Manage Database again. We're going to find the delivery date in here. So I have got the name messed up and called arrival date. Just double click onto this, and then we are going to choose a calculated value. So when I click onto this calculated value, there we have to type in a specific calculations for this field. We want this to be 2 days after the order date. So we're just going to double click on the left side here, order date, to drag out the value. So whatever the order date is, we want it to be +2, and then click OK, OK again, and then OK. So we're going to create a new record. Now you see that we will have 21st of April as the order date, and then it will automatically create 2 days after current date as the delivery date. To sum everything up, we came from a simple database that has no entering option, but everything has to be typed in. And now we have a very simple entry form that when you create a new record, it automatically generates a serial number, the order date, delivery date, and the delivery type. And then all you need to do is just type in the customer name and then pick from one of the value inside this product, and then maybe tick a few boxes, and you're good to go. And that's it for this tutorial. My question to you, what is the single most time-consuming data entry process in your work or your business that you wish you don't have to do? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you're new to this channel is all about creating FileMaker beginner-friendly tutorials so that you can take what you learn in here and apply it to your business or work right away and start automating the process. So if you don't want to miss out our regular videos, just hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.